Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson on a beautiful, chilly Monday morning here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Perfect for you.
I love it. Oh, yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I got a jacket on. It's so nice.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about sweating when I go
wasn't
outside. It's nice and
expecting
cold.
to pull a hoodie out again.
Oh, man, it's so awesome.
But I had to this weekend.
Oh, quick movie recommendation for everyone. I went and saw the new Marvel movie. It's called like Thunderbolts or something like that.
Never heard of her.
Just so you know, I'm not a Marvel guy. Like, I think the Iron Man movies are funny or whatever because I like Robert Downey Jr. But
Like you don't go to Comic-Con or nothing?
I haven't watched any of the Avengers movies or anything like that, so I know nothing about it. Didn't read the comic books.
You don't show up in an Iron Man suit?
I did not wear my Iron Man suit.
Okay.
I always liked Iron Man because it's like a rich guy who takes it upon himself, you know?
Of course you would.
And I like Batman because it's a rich guy who takes it upon himself to fix stuff. To be honest with you, the movie was good. It was funny. It was, I wouldn't say wholesome, but it had a nice little message behind it. No woke. Just telling you, I didn't even think about woke the whole time because they were not trying to pass any message on to me the whole time. So I just want to let you know, I'm giving you permission to go see this movie because it was actually fairly good. I saw it did really well at the box office over the weekend, and recommend it even if you don't follow the Marvel franchise, as I do not, and I know nothing about the Avengers or anything that they've been doing over the last several years. So anyhow, that's that's all I got for you. Thunderbolts. Go check that out. Okay, we got some news. We got stuff that happened over the weekend, even though I wasn't paying a ton of attention over the weekend, but I did see a few things that happened. And I want to, I guess I'm going to make a point that maybe some of our Trump MAGA loyalist supporters are not really going to love a ton. And that's that it's really starting to feel like Donald Trump is losing the plot. If he had the plot, I'll admit I'm one of the guys who thought there was a plot to this whole thing.
And he's losing.
It's I don't know what's happening. The eye is off the ball. The plot is lost. I don't know what's happening right now, and I'm going to give you a couple examples. The first one is this ridiculous idea that we are going to reopen Alcatraz. And Trump is serious. He posted about it yesterday.
I have not seen
He posted
this.
about it this morning. People are talking about it. They're super happy about this. He says, rebuild and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders. I don't know how... And the problem was we didn't have them on Alcatraz. You see all those people, the reason they're not in prison is because they escaped.
Yeah.
And we need them to be on an island prison, and that's the problem.
Where they can't escape.
Where they can't escape. Okay?
Unless they're, what's his name?
Yeah, the problem is that they've all been escaping. Let's see, repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society who will never contribute anything other than misery and suffering. When we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone that they could harm. That's the way it's supposed to be. No longer will we tolerate these serial offenders who spread filth, bloodshed, and mayhem on our streets. That is why today I'm directing the Bureau of Prisons, together with the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security, to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz. Are they going to make the island bigger that it's on? I'm not really sure what the plan is there. To house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. We will no longer be held hostage to criminals, thugs, and judges that are afraid to do their job and allow us to remove criminals who came into our country illegally. The reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. We will make America great again. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to make America great again.
That's right.
Yeah, as T-Dub just said, 166 prisoners are going to make a huge dent in the crime. I did see numbers that at one point, I think it held 265, something like that. Guys, I got to tell you, whatever this symbol is that he's wanting to create, and rest assured, like be sure right now, it is the symbol of sending people to Alcatraz. Just like I believe the symbol of sending people to El Salvador is actually meant to scare people. I think they're trying to get people to self-deport, and so he wants to scare people into just leaving so they don't get sent to a prison. And so he wants to have Alcatraz open because this is a big, scary prison on an island that you can't escape. It's still just a prison, okay? But the problem with this here prison is that it's super expensive, and this is why they closed it in the first place.
And clearly it's vulnerable to terrorist attacks.
It's vulnerable. We saw it. Like, I don't know how much it costs to send Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery over there to rescue those hostages back in the 90s, but it was probably a lot of money to fix that problem, okay?
Yeah, and that was called The Rock.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good movie, by the way. I've seen that so many times. So many times I've seen that. They closed it because
it used to terrify me.
Yeah, really?
Well, yeah, because I had never heard of like a nerve agent like that.
Oh yeah, that VX nerve gas. Yeah, that was bad stuff.
I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
we don't want any of that.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want
to give Ed Harris any opportunities to take any hostages.
Just imagine, Mike Waltz is out, Pete Hegseth gets booted.
Mm-hmm.
They take over Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Hold it hostage with some VX gas.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
You're really leaving yourself open to attacks.
Their pension.
Yeah, that's a problem. They're mad about getting screwed over.
Yeah,
and all the while we should have just not sent them into pointless wars in the first place.
Amen.
That's how you stop that problem from happening. Okay.
Bailey brings up a good point. Why would we trust California with the prisoners in the first place?
That's like, that should be line number one on why this is so stupid. Like, you want to go to listen, you got this prison that was too expensive to operate in the 60s. They decided to shut it down. It was like 3 or 4 times the cost per prisoner to operate because they have to send in, it doesn't even have its own water supply. They have to ship like 1 million gallons of water to it. It doesn't have its own electricity. They had to ship fuel for generators over to it. Of course, they're not farming there. You got to ship food and all kinds of stuff to it. And it's on an island, so it's super expensive. You got to pay the people more to work there because it's kind of isolated. Takes some time to get there, all that. All right, it doesn't make any sense. This is something that would cost, from all the estimates I've seen, $200 to $300 million at least to get it back open, and that's if you could use some of the facilities that are already there. Okay. That's not even, they're essentially going to have to rebuild a whole new prison on this island.
Just tear it down
on
rebuild.
An island. This is something that's seriously going to cost them close to $1 billion to build a prison on an island that's going to hold 260 max, I think, in the 60s. And what can they get it up to 300, 400, something like that? For what? For what? Like, we don't have other prisons, or it wouldn't be way cheaper to build a prison somewhere else? Our problem is not that people are escaping prisons and getting out onto the streets. So why? Why?
Maybe it's a new deportation facility.
Oh, God. This stuff just makes no sense, man. And then to watch people just jump on this like, hell yeah, Alcatraz, and send fear God into those people. I'm like, what are you doing?
Again, this is just populism. This is something that they probably polled some Americans on, and then 90% were like, oh, yeah, Alcatraz. So now he's running with it and seeing what it's going to look like when he announces it.
But then
and just like you said, a bunch of people are jumping on it like, oh, yeah, Alcatraz. It gives you that emotional pull, right, of like, oh, yeah, when America was great, we did have Alcatraz. Yeah, let's reopen it. That's right. Make America great again.
That must have meant Alcatraz.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
America was great, and we had Alcatraz. You can tie those two things. Tariffs, Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, those don't line up historically together, but whatever.
Yeah, and like Jake said, he thinks it's cool.
Yeah, it's just a marketing thing, like what Bailey just said. But on top of all the stupid stuff we just said, this isn't California. And just remember, this is never going to get done. Even if they decide that they're going to do a plan to build this thing, to renew it, or to rebuild the whole thing, it's not even going to get finished. They're going to have lawsuit after lawsuit. They're going to have delay after delay. And it's not even going to get done in Trump's term, which, by the way, he said he's not running in 2028. Over the weekend, he said that was a troll. So thank God. Maybe we
By
don't
the
have to
way,
worry
he
about
says
that.
it. He says it at the end here. He says the reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. We will make America great again.
Yeah,
It's a symbol.
it is a symbol.
It's like the Batman signal in the air, except it's Alcatraz. It's,
It's so dumb.
and instead of you all being able to, actually, you can't tour it anymore. Actually, I don't think it's.
Did they close the tour? I'm pretty sure they still have tours going.
Do they? I thought they condemned it.
I don't. Maybe someone
Maybe you
could
can
do
only
a
go
fact
to
check on that.
maybe you can only go to certain parts. I think they've condemned most of it.
Because what I saw is it still raises like $60 million a year
In tourism?
Yeah, in tours.
Yeah, wow.
Because the numbers I was seeing were counting that against, like, not only is it going to cost a ton of money just to operate every year, you're going to lose like the $60 million a year it brings in tourism at the same time. Now, maybe
Which one of the prison companies is going to get this
I don't know.
contract?
I don't know. Okay, so that's one thing where I'm just like, WTF is happening. Then he has another one about the movie industry. This one makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Charlie.
All right, the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. This is a national security threat.
Yeah.
It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. Oh, God.
What? First off, what? This is a national security threat?
This is the problem with having these emergency powers.
I'm so glad he brought back the ability to use the word retarded. Okay. Because it fits perfectly right here. This is making some sense now.
This is retarded.
How do you even tariff this? What do you tariff? Who do you tariff what?
I guess the filmmakers.
The box of film that is shipped out to the place? Like, what are you tariffing? I don't know. And by the way, no one else can figure. Oh, let's listen to Trump. Maybe he's got something to say about it here. Here's a little clip from Republicans against Trump, who, hey, we make fun of all the time. This is Trump on his decision to impose 100% tariffs on all movies produced outside the U.S. Let's see. Other nations have been stealing the movies. Let's see what he has to say.
The movie tariffs.
Yeah, the movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movies, the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week, and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now, you have an grossly incompetent governor that allowed that to happen, so I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. I mean, they're supporting them financially. So that's sort of a threat to our country in a sense. And it's been a very popular thing. I can tell you one thing.
Hey, he says it there at the end. It's a very popular thing. There he goes again.
Done a lot of research.
Guys, what sense does this make? Like, if the movies are made outside, so what, like Mission Impossible is going to have to pay a tariff because it's filmed in a lot of locations that
Braveheart, because it was filmed in Scotland.
Yeah. What if you don't make your own Scotland in the U.S., then you have to pay a tariff?
Yeah.
Like, what is a World War II movie is going to have to pay a big tariff because we didn't actually fight any battles here in the U.S. homeland?
Yeah.
If you don't make your own Normandy in the U.S., you're going to have to pay it. What does this mean?
Yeah. Saving Private Ryan and Destin, Florida.
This makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. And you know who's not that even I don't even see this as a massive problem, guys. We get there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of stuff to watch.
It sounds like there isn't much political going on, and so he's just throwing.
I feel like he's bored right now. He's bored.
Yeah, he's throwing spaghetti, on the floor.
God.
And see if there's a vacuum cleaner that's going to suck it up or not.
That is exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they say.
Exactly.
what about
You know, sticky spaghetti gets stuck to the
it's
floor.
like people are unhappy with movies, so we need a tariff because it's other countries that are stealing our good movies. You know, if you want to blame anyone, you could blame the fact that there's a lot of them are shot in California, that Hollywood's in California. What about unions? You know how crazy the unions are when it comes to filming things?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some stuff just because I was in a commercial one time and, you know, was technically one of the, I don't know what you call, like, you can't say star because they're not a star, but whatever, like the principal person in the commercial is. And they have the craziest union rules, even on something simple like that. It's like there were a bunch of extras, like maybe 50 or 60 extras for the commercial. They have these crazy rules like the director can't talk to the extras because if the director talks to them, it bumps up their pay level because they were directed by the director of the commercial. So they pay other people that the director then talks to, and then those people go and talk to the extras. So it won't raise the price of the extras.
So that he's not directly directing.
Yeah, he's directing those people who then go and tell the extras what to do. Like, it's the most ridiculous stuff. And even, like, we were paid, there's union level pay rates for whatever level you are in the thing that's being filmed. And I got paid the top level for filming in the thing because we were like at the top, a star level for filming in the commercial. I'd have done it for a lot less.
You think
a whole lot less money?
You think you would have been enough at that point?
That would have
starred and
should have been awesome.
Commercial.
You know, it's like definitely the most money I ever made in 3 days, for sure. You know, I got paid for paid for 2 years of a 3 days worth of work.
I need to try this whole acting thing out.
Should do that again sometime. I got some cred, you know.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, can't even find the commercial because we had to get paid every time you watch it on YouTube or something. So it's like it's gone. You know, it's just gone now. It's unfortunate.
It is. Should have downloaded a copy.
The moral of the story is the point of this whole thing is that I was in a commercial.
That's all that matters.
The second part of the story is that what about unions and the fact that they make everything so expensive? I'm not going to let them off the hook here.
No, we should just tariff. We should just tariff. Is this idea coming from the labor secretary?
I don't know what's happening right now at all. Peter Schiff says, today Trump announced 100% tariff on movies produced outside the U.S., but movies aren't physical goods that come across the border in any way that the tariff can be applied. This would be some new kind of federal excise tax on Americans who watch movies filmed abroad. And I guess they could tax the theaters because like you have to pay a fee to the production company and all that to be able to show the movie. And so I guess the moral of the story is this is another thing that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're just talking about things.
Also, it's just dumb.
And it's really, is this dumb bleep of the week already? We've done 2 dumb bleep entries already for the weekend. What a weekend. Trump did an interview.
I did see this
with Meet the Press, and I just brought in one
clip. Sounded a little Bernie Sanders to me.
Oh, with the
dolls.
With the dolls, yeah.
Do you have that?
I do have that clip. We can start with that clip since you brought it up.
Remember when Bernie Sanders was saying you only need one kind of toothpaste?
It just ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work at all.
Said this week got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls. Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can.
There it is.
Once again,
the answer is yes. The prices are going to dictate the fact that you're not going to be able to afford 30 cheaply made dolls.
You used to be able to afford 30, and you're going to spend your same doll allotment is only going to get you
$2
$2
to
or
$3.
$3
Yeah.
instead of 30. That's what's going to happen. Guys, the plot is gone. I don't know what's happening right now.
I don't either.
We have to stop the boredom. Whatever's happening in Trump's brain right now has to be stopped. And this is something that's been happening over the last month or so.
Whose ideas are coming to fruition right now? This is wild stuff.
I don't know what's going on. This is not going to work. This is not, the people are not going to like this. Like, if you're a Trump supporter and you have suffered through the first, 20 minutes of this episode so far, I commend you for listening this whole time, by the way. But this ain't going to work. And if you want Trump to be remembered fondly through history, this ain't going to work. This idea that you don't need that many things, you just need a smaller amount of things. You could make arguments that it could be true. You could make arguments that we have, that we're driven by consumerism and that we spend too much money on all this stuff and that we get a lot of things that we don't need. And back when America was great, little girls just used to have 1 or 2 dolls and she was super happy getting that one, stupid doll for Christmas that she got. And America was great at that time. You can make an argument that we didn't spend that much money. But the problem is people would still be spending the same amount of money on those 2 dolls. You're not even talking about them spending less money. You're not talking about a world where people are choosing to be less consumerist and buying less things because they realize they don't need all the things. You're talking about a world where people are still spending that same budget amount on those things, but they're getting way less things for that money. That is not the anti-consumerist argument. That's just an anti-efficient use of resources argument that you're making. It's not good. It's not
ridiculous, man.
Okay.
Dumb bleep. This is dumb bleep number 3.
I guess that's number 3. What else is? So we talked about prices, and we have to do a thing, because if Joe Biden was up there and Joe Biden said the list of things that he's about to say, here's what we would do. We would go and we would look and we would fact check and we would make sure that all those things were correct, because during the time of Joe Biden's presidency, we went through a massive amount of inflation. And then we were told when inflation slowed down that prices were coming down at that time. And we would point out the lies, blatant lies about things. And I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the situation where we did that to Joe Biden and then Trump gets up there and says a bunch of stuff and then we just look the other way. It's just not the way to do it. All right, here we go.
Prices are already going up on some popular items.
Whoa.
Tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person. And that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy.
All right, so he's talking about gas prices, grocery prices. I don't know if he mentioned eggs in this, but we'll mention the eggs potentially. Now, he does say prices are down for oil, and I can go ahead and confirm to you that prices are down for oil. It's down to like $55-$60 a barrel, something like that, which is really cheap and traditionally a very bad economic indicator, actually, for that to happen. Typically, it signals recession and wars is what oil being that cheap typically signals. But anyhow, we'll skip over that oil part right now. And like, for instance, he posted this out and it was reposted by some other prominent figures, like saying that gasoline just broke $1.98 a gallon, lowest in years. Groceries and eggs are down. Energy's down. Mortgage rates are down. Employment strong. And much more good news. The $1.98 a gallon thing, you can't find that anywhere unless you happen to spend $1,200 at Kroger over the last month. That's the only way you can find gas prices.
Yeah, where is that?
Nowhere.
I did actually do a search.
It's not anywhere.
Okay.
That does not exist. In fact, on AAA's website, you can look at the lowest prices. I think Mississippi is the lowest price right now, and it's at $2.65 a gallon. Here in Tennessee, it's $2.72 a gallon right now, and the national average is $3.16. And so you're not getting gas for $1.98. And anyone who reposted that, like that at America PAC that's ran by Elon Musk reposted that statement. You should be able to look at that and just know that it's not true, and that people everywhere know it's not true, except for we all. It's like we all believe that, well, wow, that must be nice. The gas prices are down, just not here. You know, there's something wrong in my state, but gas prices must be really low elsewhere. And so, like, everyone in the U.S. is like, well, you know, gas prices must be really low somewhere. I'm sure.
Is this like what the gas stations are buying it for?
I'm not.
Like
I'm not
they're
sure.
buying it for $1.98 a gallon.
I don't
and
know.
then reselling it for $2.76.
Just to be annoying here for a second, but things like food at home. I could show you right here. Food at home. That means groceries. Just so you know, that was up for January, month over month, 0.5%. It was even January to February 2025, and then it was up again 0.5% February to March. So the claim that groceries are down cannot be made as a generally true statement. You can look at specific grocery items and say that those specific items could be down if you want to talk about like rice. No,
Cereal.
No, it's not rice. Yeah, rice, pasta, cornmeal. No, but rice itself went up. So pasta and cornmeal.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bread.
That's one
White
of them.
bread.
Bread other than white is down 1.6. That's what
okay.
I was worried about. Non-white colored bread.
Yes. Yeah. Brown bread. Yeah.
Oh god, I'm talking about bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need a GoFundMe for the white bread.
We need to get on Gifts and Go for all these people wanting to get white bread. We're not even going to have time to talk about that today, really. But
it's more expensive than bread of color.
Bread of color. Okay.
Minority bread.
Minority bread. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyhow, I don't know how many more racist bread jokes we can make, but I'm sure there's some more. If anyone has any good racist bread jokes, we can make those in the group. So generally, no, groceries.
You're not going to say N-word
are
bread?
not. No, I'm not that hard up for cash at the moment.
Okay.
I'll let you know. And then there's the eggs. I don't think he mentions eggs in that, but let me tell you, the egg prices did get super high there at the beginning of March. Remember when we had a big egg craze there for a minute because all the chickens had been murdered? And egg prices do seem, by all the charts I can find, egg prices do seem to be down a bit. Right now, current price is $3.29 a dozen.
I paid more than that yesterday.
Well, it depends on if you buy like
no, these are just Kroger
regular,
brand.
crappy, torturous eggs.
Kroger brand. Yeah, these
Torturous antibiotic hormone eggs.
Chickens were in a coop, like a tight coop. I bet.
Do they give you pictures of tortured animals when you buy those, like for fun?
No.
Okay.
No, I just, I'm not rich enough for the pasture-raised eggs like Nate Thurston over here. So I'm pretty sure it was like $4.83.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have visited Josh over there in West Virginia.
That does sound better.
Get $5 tax-free. Are you putting sales tax on that?
So my point with bringing up all of these things is one thing that Joe Biden did wrong was he tried to what's the saying? Piss on someone's leg and told them it was raining. I think that's what they say.
I've heard that once.
And we were like, no, people know the difference. You can't lie to people about how much they're paying for groceries and how much they're paying for gas. They're going to know that you're lying about that. All right. That's just something that you can't get away with, really. You can't go out there and say grocery prices are down. And then they're like, oh, yeah, grocery prices are down. That's awesome.
I'll tell you something, though.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting to me. I did a grocery order yesterday. Now, I have struggled to get out of the grocery store under $200.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically, for my family, $250 to $300 every time I go. I got a week's worth of groceries yesterday. I did miss a couple items, but my total, and they had all kinds of coupons for some reason yesterday. My total was only $189. Now I got like $40 worth of coupons.
That's good.
But
sounds like Kroger.
It was Kroger.
Yeah, they give you that like $40 off, whatever.
No, it was just a bunch of different.
Oh, okay.
Like $1 here, $1 there.
Yeah.
And it ended up being less than $200 for the first time that I can remember in the last couple months.
So and
I didn't like hold back. Like I bought groceries.
That is a nice anecdotal story. You know, scientifically, we'll have to do the exact same basket of goods and check and see if it's over $200. You know,
I'm not saying they went down. I obviously haven't looked at the data.
What
I was
happens
just
is
surprised.
You've chosen to spend less and you don't even realize it.
That's possible.
Yeah, you've decided to get cheaper stuff.
That's possible.
That's what's happened.
I did get less steaks this time.
Yeah.
I only got
There
one.
are things that have moved down. Like things got really expensive there for a minute and some things have gone down. So it just depends on what specific grocery item you're talking about. All I'm saying is we need to move away from talking about, especially some of this crazy stuff we just started with, like the Alcatraz thing's annoying, the movie tariffs are annoying, and just talking about how prices have gone down when we have a lot of data on prices not, in fact, going down. We need to actually do those things and not settle for talking about them. Whatever the government can do about that. Print less money would be a good way. Spend less money would be a good way. Generally stop destroying the market economy would be a good way to do those things. The last thing I want to talk about before we go is this bill that apparently is no more, but was almost more. And it was this H.R. 867, as I'm sure a lot of people saw. H.R. 67, they were supposed to vote on it today, but apparently the bill got pulled because so many people were upset about it, and they didn't want to pass it. So I'll just give you a little explanation of what it was. Let me get to a good one here. Maybe drop site. Let me find a better one. Hold on. There's some good. Let's see. Prohibited actions include. Now, this is in relation to boycotts imposed by foreign governments on a country which is friendly to the United States and that not itself an object of a and that is not itself the object of a U.S. boycott. Okay, so essentially it prevents people from participating in internationally sponsored boycotts against Israel. That is the actual bill. Okay, the bill doesn't specifically say Israel, but it's Israel. That's what it is, just because that's the one that people are trying to boycott. Okay. Prohibited actions include refusing to do business with companies organized under the laws of the boycotted country if the refusal is pursuant to an agreement with or request or what blah blah blah. Refusing to employ any U.S. person on the basis of race, religion, sex, or national origin. Furnishing information about whether someone is associated with charitable or fraternal organizations that support the boycotted country. That's super fun. Okay. Now, they decided that this would include if the boycott was supported by the UN or the EU. And that's what H.R. 867 was about. Here's what I didn't know, which a lot of people were upset about this whole thing, okay? Fines up to $1 million, prison sentences up to 20 years for participating in boycotts of Israel or its settlements if these boycotts are endorsed by international bodies like the UN or the EU. And they were supposed to vote on it Monday. Here's what I didn't know. This law already exists, is on the books, and has been on the books for a long time. The only difference in this one is that they were adding the UN and the EU. Everything else already exists.
I had no idea.
$1 million fines, prison sentences up to 20 years.
Jesus.
It already exists under U.S. law and has existed for a long time. The only difference in this one that everyone was up in an uproar about, you're talking 9 million views on this MTG post. Thomas Massey was out there posting about it. A lot of it, Charlie Kirk was out there against it. Redheaded Libertarian was out there against it. She had several million views on her post. It's already a thing that is already on the books. Now, it doesn't seem like it gets enforced very much, like at all. The only thing I've seen that's been enforced is under this law, you're supposed to let the government know when a foreign entity approaches you about being involved in their boycott. You're supposed to report that to the government. And if you fail to report that to the government, then they can fine you for failing to report it to the government. And so they've had some companies that have been fined.
Isn't that forced speech?
So they've only done the administrative things like fining people for failure to report it. They haven't actually, from what I can tell, prosecuted people for participating in the boycotts, because then this would have to hold up under scrutiny if it got taken to court. And I have not been able to find actual examples of people participating. The government's prosecuting those people for participating. They've only used the administrative courts to go after people for fines for failing to report that they were being contacted by someone. And so they've collected some money by doing that. Regardless of all of that.
Who passed this bill and signed it?
It was in the 70s. I can't remember the name of the bill it was added to. And
during Vietnam, I guess?
I don't...
Is this because of the boycotts of
I'm not sure what
the Vietnam
No,
War?
it had to do with Israel in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see. Did you know that we have something called the Office of Anti-Boycott Compliance?
What?
Yeah.
Is that on your flag shirt?
It probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the shirt to see. The OAC has existed since 1977, and they're the ones that go through this stuff.
Here's another group we can...
Making sure that you don't participate in any foreign boycotts that the United States has not sanctioned. Guys, this is insane, and it is already a thing that's on the books. Why didn't we know about this?
Because it's not affecting anyone.
It's not because they haven't actually gone after anyone that participated. They've only used administrative courts to go after people who didn't report stuff.
Or the people that did go after, they died in Alcatraz.
That's exactly it. When America was great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what
That's
it was.
how we loop this whole thing together.
Bills like this, for all the people that are worried about the anti-Semitism, which is stupid. Anti-Semitism is stupid, but also connecting anti-Semitism and criticism of the government of Israel is a really stupid thing to do. Like if you criticize Israel, that means it's because you hate Jews. That is a ridiculous thing to do. But bills like this and laws like this, which apparently already exist, by the way, where you can fine people up to $1 million or put them in prison for 20 years if you were to take this all the way, on behalf of protecting a foreign government from you, an American, deciding to join in a boycott that you heard.
Or what if you just don't want to participate? Like, what if you don't want to buy products from another country?
That's fine, and this is why they actually haven't prosecuted it, because they essentially, what I read was it's very difficult to prove that you did it because you're participating in that specific foreign boycott. This is a fear tool to try and scare people out of doing something. And it gives them this option that they can use if they wanted to, I guess. But mainly it's to try and scare some people along the edges away from doing this, to try and protect Israel. And I'm just like, why? Why?
Do American companies buy much from Israel?
There's,
cybersecurity, maybe?
Maybe that. Milwaukee Tools. I got a Milwaukee pack-out box, and on the back of it, it says it's like made in Israel.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought they were American.
Yeah. Well, probably owned by an American company, but I guess they make it in Israel. I don't know. That's what something says.
How
I don't
about
know.
that?
Yeah, but as far as I know, that's the only company they have. Because I don't know any other ones.
It's Milwaukee.
So I guess on a positive note, so many people were upset about this that they decided to pull it and not vote on it. On a negative note, it already exists, and all they were doing was adding the EU and the UN to it. Everything else is the same. All the things
we need Marjorie Taylor Greene to introduce a bill to basically get rid of this office, this OAC office.
All the things that people are upset about are already in law. They already exist, and they were just going to add the UN and the EU to it. That's it. Okay.
Who has these ideas?
I don't know. It's stupid. It's really bad. We gotta. I think I didn't finish my thought earlier. This causes people to go down that conspiracy rabbit hole of the Jews doing all of this stuff. Controlling our government, controlling everything in the world.
Look, this is AIPAC funded.
It is AIPAC funded.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Good news. They listened. And they decided not to do this stuff. Bad news, all the actual really terrible stuff already exists. And
more bad news, no one's introduced a bill to get rid of this insane office that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, what is
how much money do we spend on the
Office of Anti-Boycott Compliance?
Yeah.
Like they've decided that we're anti that boycott and you have to comply with that. Why is that something the U.S. government is dealing with? Can't people decide what to do with their own money? Does the U.S. government? Oh, because of that freaking commerce clause. That's why, because it's commerce.
That's right.
Something good
Which I think
in the
is-
show. What's something positive?
I think that's not a correct interpretation of the Constitution. but-
So, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely not the correct interpretation. So why we talk about these things today? And actually, I subconsciously organized them in a pretty good way, I would say. The Alcatraz thing is stupid. The movies thing is stupid. Don't lie about prices going down if inflation is just slowing, because we said the same stuff about Joe Biden. Prices are still going up. They're just going up slower than they have been. Okay. And then we bring up something that was stupid, but so many people were upset about it, they decided not to do it. Okay. That's the positive note on top of it. If you want Trump to do well, which I hope Trump does well, I hope something happens and they decide they're going to cut a bunch of funding or something like that. I hope Doge kick in. I've heard a few more people mention rescissions and all that. I don't personally think it's going to happen, but they throw me a bone and talk about it every now and then.
Here's
so that's
what
nice.
I think's going to happen is they're finding all these cuts. They're going to institute these cuts, but they're going to reallocate that money
to the Department of Defense.
to the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
They're going to get $1 trillion.
Yeah.
So they're going to up the budget by $100+ billion, and it's
Mhm.
going to be reallocated different places. He's just like he's just shifting. They're not going to reduce spending. You
No.
kidding me? That Trump is a spender. He
Yeah.
was in his first term.
But if you spend it efficiently, Charlie, then you
Well,
get a
we're
better
gonna-
return.
Sounds like we're going to
Yeah,
make
better
about
return.
$100 trillion off these tariffs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, especially on the movie one. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a big deal.
it's gonna be
you
great.
know? Okay, that's what we got today. If you're upset about something, it doesn't mean you have to hate Trump or you have to think he's already a failure or whatever. Speak out about it. Post something, repost something.
sounds like he
comment
will
on
move
stuff
with what's popular.
They will listen because we apparently have a populist style presidency and government right now who will listen to what gets the most clicks on X at the moment. And so you should go to our page and click.
More
So,
clicks.
Yeah, more clicks.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, y'all. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode, please share the show with a friend, a family member, or a foe. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to GodHatesFeds.com, pick up some merchandise, or there's a button on there that says Join GML.
Mm-hmm.
Click that or type in joingml.com into your browser and join the Fed Haters Club, the only place where you can safely hate the feds with
Yep.
your speech.
Yep.
And that's it. We don't condone any violence.
We will not fine you for hating feds.
Exactly.
Yep.
You can boycott the feds.
That's fine.
Yeah, we won't report you to
Mhm.
anyone. Do that. Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. And if you do all of that, we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.